Anyway,
Don't get left behind.
don't get left behind. We were talking about selling merchant services, and my new phrase to people is, how would you like to go from paying fees to being paid? And what that means is, let's use a restaurant for an example. Let's say the restaurant's paying in credit card fees $5,000 a month. It's a pretty big size restaurant. They may have a seating of 100 or 150 people. They have 2 active bars, and they're doing a substantial amount of business. I come in and say to a prospective owner, uh, how would you like to save all those fees, all $5,000 a month? That's $60,000 a year. He says, what do you have in mind? So we want to move all the fees over to the customers. So if, let's say, a dinner is $100, they're either going to give you $100 in cash, or when they hand you their credit card, it's going to be $104. So you actually see the full $100, and the processor will see the $4. So now it doesn't go the other way, where if somebody were to hand you a credit card, you may be seeing $96 or $97. Now you'll see the full 100, and all those fees go away. So the initial comments that owners say is, oh, I'm going to get all kinds of pushback from my customers, which at this point is not necessarily true. They've just had to adopt it uh, in the sense that it's really taking off all across the country. I work with numerous processors, and they're probably collectively putting on anywhere between 15 to 25,000 merchants a month, because they're able to save all kinds of money. If you think about it, around the country, we've been doing this all along with gas. You go to a gas station, you either pay $3 for a gallon of gas, or you pay $3.30 when you use your credit card. Well, now we've adopted that through everything. All kinds of retail, online, distribution, wholesale, manufacturing, restaurants, all of it.
Even at the dental office.
Even medical, even
Yeah,
dental
yeah,
offices.
the
You
dental
know,
offices I've
doctors'
been to.
offices, chiropractor offices.
Everyone's doing it.
Yeah, they really are. And it's wonderful because everybody really wins. What I mean by everybody wins, when the customer pays with a credit card, even though they may be paying a little more, they have rewards points. So now they're getting more rewards points. The processor wins because they're now getting paid from the customer as opposed to the merchant. The merchant's not paying anything any longer, so everybody wins. Going into sales, Grant, you've started this business several months back, and you've seen the challenges of selling door to door. You told me that you went into a restaurant, peak time, just as they're getting ready to serve their 200 dinners, and here comes Grant walking in to solicit a manager that's got to manage bartenders, wait staff, bus boys, and hosts and hostesses, and the kitchen help. And here comes Grant knocking on the door. Hey, I'd love to talk to you about merchant services. And the guy says, read the room. Can you see what's going on here? This is not the good time. This is not a good time to reach me. So in the restaurant world, it's usually never the best time unless an owner says, come in at a specific time, and it may be at his busiest time. He'll take time away, but inherently, it's always best to go off hours to a restaurant when it's quieter, and you can have hopefully the owner's undivided attention to share with him your wonderful opportunity of selling dual processing or cash discount. And you encounter all these different sales obstacles all the time. That's one that you shared with me, and I'm going to share one with you now. I had early on in my career, I had set up a merchant, and they were about an hour and a half away by car, and they called me up after the weekend and said, my terminal's not working. So being naive, being ignorant, and being new, I said, okay, I'll come drive out and see what's going on. and I drove out to find that the terminal that gets plugged into the wall was unplugged. Why? Because their cleaning staff was there over the weekend, and not knowing what the terminal was plugged into, that the terminal was plugged in, they unplugged it, plugged in their vacuum cleaner, and just left the cord on the ground. So these are just some things that, you got to follow up with, and, at this point you would just simply call up the merchant and say, it's not working. Okay, let's make sure everything's plugged in properly. There are times when, you have a merchant say, my terminal's not working, and you say, what's the problem? Well, the paper's not printing. Well, in some cases, they've got the paper in backwards. So these are just merchant service sales things that you have to go through and learn about once you're out in the field, and dealing with merchants and their concerns. What else do you want to talk about? How do you want to get into this?
Yeah, I want to discuss a little bit, just kind of educate people, whoever ends up watching this or wherever we post it, on like equipment logistics and merchant services, because I think it's like under talked about between us and among the companies that we work with. So I'd say like for me, my first POS machine that I ever had shipped was shipped to the next door neighbor of the business, and I got a call from a random number saying, hey, we have these 2 massive packages on our front porch, and they have your name on it. So at that point I was like, okay, I'll be right there. I went over there, and there were 2 huge boxes of like the POS machine, and I brought them into the next door neighbor's store, the merchant I was setting up, and it ended up being fine. But it was a pretty tough learning lesson, because if that guy hadn't called me, or if those boxes gotten stolen, like they were writing the menu on that POS machine for like a week. So it would have been at least a week delay. And, they had all the equipment that he ordered and purchased. So it was just messy. And then, obviously today I was running, and I get a text from like someone we work with. Well, actually, sorry, I was running today, and I got an email within the first 5 minutes of the run of a broken terminal saying, hey, the terminal that you shipped is broken, and the entire glass was cracked, and like the top of it was broken off. So for my understanding, the best thing I could have done, which is what I did, was immediately call the merchant, which I'm pretty sure you would do too. So you call the merchant and you solve the problem. It's like, hey, like, I'm sorry that the terminal's broken. This isn't what we expected. FedEx broke it. It happens. We'll ship you out the terminal today, and we'll send you a shipping label. We'll send you a shipping label today, and we'll try to get it to you ASAP. But like, the point I'm trying to make is these things happen, and they're going to continue happening. And I feel like at the end of the day, it's just, customer service. Like if you're trying to go into merchant services, or you are in sales in any capacity, and a problem comes up, I think the most important thing you could do is follow up fast and often, because
Absolutely.
Ultimately, like, I think in medical school, some medical schools are really big on like professionalism. So they'll have like the class, wear like a button-down shirt and a tie to most events, or like a button-down shirt and khakis, and like dresses for women, whatever. The PCOM doesn't do that, but...
So hold on. Here in our podcast moment right now, we need to understand that Grant Denmark here, my son, is a third-year medical student and has decided to venture into a little bit of entrepreneurship, venturing into my business, and he's now making an explanation of what it's like to be in medical school.
Well, I'm trying to make an analogy here, which is just that like there's a lot of professional stuff that gets in the way of a prospective doctor actually becoming a good doctor. Like, in my opinion, there are some things that are slightly overboard and inconvenient for med students. But what I would say is having an emphasis on professionalism in a graduate level program and in medical school is necessary, not only because you're literally saving people's lives and their lives depend on your knowledge and your ability, but it's just important. And it's important in merchant services as well. You shouldn't leave anyone on red, ever. There's never a point in time where you should leave someone either on your team or a prospect or a current merchant like on red. And when on red, that's a colloquial term for having not responded to them. You should always follow up as soon as they text and not ghost them or not leave them on red, because that's extremely unprofessional and it breaks confidence. So
I agree 100%.
yeah, and like I've solicited a lot of people in merchant services over the past couple of months, and like I've also worked with a lot of people too, like, and I feel most comfortable and most confident when I'm like speaking with someone, and I think I'm going to I think I'm going to be able to take care of them, or they're going to take care of me when we're having a conversation that's like not the timeline makes sense, and there's not an erratic response time. If you have an erratic response time, things just fall apart. So one thing, Alex Hormozy, who's this big entrepreneur I follow, he's great. Anyone watching this should know who he is. One thing he says is like follow up and follow up often, but he's also huge on this whole idea where if you have a lead, call them within the first 60 seconds of them becoming a lead, because that's when people have the most buying intent. So I think it's comparable to like when you're working with someone online. And anyway, the last thing I'll say is like you'll notice that people will appreciate it and they'll literally say over text, "Thanks for your prompt response."
Yeah, it's crucial.
Yeah, and I think for you it's ingrained. Like you don't really think twice about it because you have excellent customer service
You
skills.
have to. You have to.
Yeah,
You-
but
you-
most people don't know that, so I just wanted to bring it up.
it's you know, it's imperative to be on top of your business, on top of your game. You have to understand something. I often say the phrase, "You're putting your hand in the merchant's cash register." They want to know that they can trust you. They want to know that they have confidence in you. They want to know that you can fix the problem immediately, that you're not, as you put it, ghosting them or avoiding them or ignoring them, that you're on top of it. And if you don't have the right answer, tell them you'll get back to them with the right answer, or find out who can help you the most, whether it be an IT issue or a customer service issue. You got to be the first line of defense. You're there, you know, you're there to help them.
Yeah, you're facilitating the relationship between their payments and the people that are collecting the payments and paying them.
Right.
It's a very weird business. It really is.
Well, it's as I say, you know, it's a necessary evil. It's like you know, you have to pay the utility bill.
I think it's a novelty.
Well, it's not a novelty. It's what people. It's a method of payment, you know, and it's the method of payment in 2025, and it's you know, they say it's going to ultimately become a cashless society by 2030, and we're on our way. You know, you're 26 years old, and I ask you if you have any cash in your wallet, and 9 out of 10 times you tell me no, and most kids your age don't. It's all debit cards and Venmo and Zelle, and you know. Now after COVID, they want to have tabletop terminals where the server's not touching your card. I mean, all this advanced technology just keeps growing and growing and growing.
Yeah. Merchant services being a novelty.
I wouldn't call it a novelty.
Here's why I call it a novelty. If you are with a big provider and you are a mom and pop shop, or you are even teetering on enterprise level, you have 15 restaurants. If you don't have a dedicated account representative that's going to hold your hand throughout the life of the account, you're missing out. Think about it. The businesses that don't have a contact point for their services are, in my opinion, at risk of having bigger issues. Because if you are with a company where you're working with someone one-on-one and they know what they're doing, you'll probably feel more comfortable. You'll probably get a better rate, because after all, like, merchant services is a negotiable business. You know? Like, there are businesses where you can't negotiate on the rates, like Square and Toast. And there are businesses where you can, and you can even get better rates. So it's a double-edged sword. You can get overcharged in merchant services by working with people like us. or you can get or you can get undercharged.
Right. Well, you get undercharged, you're underwater. Um,
Yeah, but it's just the reality of it. If you're working with a bigger corporation, you're not haggling, rates. Like you've haggled rates with people for it's a not so sexy aspect of the business that you should just be real about with people.
it's a race to zero. That's what we tell everybody in our business. If you say you're going to give somebody it for 50 basis points, I got to come in at 25. And then so hopefully somebody's not down the road coming in at 10.
Yeah, and I think that when you commodify merchant services like that, you're screwed because there's always someone that's going to be able to offer a better rate. But what you can do as a business owner is provide an exceptional relationship and value for your merchants so that they don't leave.
Right. Well, with the cash discount program, there is no race to zero because we're eliminating it for the merchant.
That is true.
And therefore the race to zero kind of gets taken out.
It does.
Which is a really nice aspect of the business now.
It is.
There's all kinds of multiple fees and rates that the merchant doesn't have to pay for anymore. I think it's a fantastic program. I think it's something that should have been around from day one with credit card processing. If you're a merchant and you've got product and whatnot, and somebody comes in and you want to sell that product, I use $100 just seems to be my number that I work with, and you want to make you want to sell for $100, that's typically registered by cash. And now when you're using a credit card or a debit card, you're down to $98 or $97, and that takes money that takes money away from you. It's your profit you're losing. Now we're putting it all back into your pocket, which is wonderful.
Let's talk about the ultimate value add that you kind of pioneered,
What would you say is that?
the rev share program.
I love the rev share program.
No one else does it too, which is important for everyone to know. Whoever sees this video, you should know that there is literally not another payment processing company that does this.
I feel very, very strong that there should be a rev share program with every merchant that we bring on board.
Agreed.
They are gracious enough with all the choices that they have to bring on any payment processor. And if they're utilizing my service, I want them to not only go to a zero fee where they're utilizing the dual processing or dual payments or the cash discount program. They're kind of synonymous in terms. They're changing things around with Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover with their regulatory mandates on what it has to be, what it has to look like, how it has to come about. But I want to be able to offer them a referral fee every month. All right, Grant, we have a really unique program. I want to see what you know about it. Explain it to me as if I'm a merchant.
Sure. So, I'm 26 years old. I'm pretty new to the game. You've been in the game for a while. When you first told me the value prop of the RevShare program, I couldn't stop thinking about it. So much so to the point that I built my own LLC and now have Sleft, which is my payment processing company, surrounded by the idea of the revenue sharing program. So what is the revenue sharing program? Well, it's pretty simple. If you're a business owner and you're paying for credit card processing fees, what you might know is that you can switch to a different company and get lower rates or better equipment or better customer service. Those things all exist. But nowadays, we have something called the cash discount program where you pay $0 in credit card processing fees. That also exists. There's a million ads on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn for 0% credit card processing fees. Cash discount program, we went over it at length. Everyone knows it's out there and exists.
Yep.
What's brand new, in the sense that we're the only ones that I think know are doing it. We are the only people that are doing this, the revenue sharing program, which is just getting paid a referral fee as a business owner for using our services every single month. And the referral fee is based off of the monthly volume that the merchant processes.
Correct.
So if you have a humongous company, they could be limiting their credit card processing fees and making an additional income to hire more staff, a better bartender, invest in better ingredients in their food, whatever the company may be. Increase their marketing efforts, increase their sales pipeline efforts. But that money goes a long way. And I think when you clearly explain the value prop to merchants and say, okay, let's take a look at those statements that you're getting every month from your credit card processing company, whether your bank sets you up or if you had someone come in and say, hey, we got this terminal, you could use it, you'll save more money, whatever the case may be. If you got set up and now you're paying fees, you may have heard the pitch of the cash discount program where you save 0%. You save 100% of the credit card processing fees. But what's not out there for public knowledge is that there are companies like Sleft that offer the revenue sharing program where they then get paid on top of not paying fees. And so I could be utterly wrong, and this could be a huge waste of all of our time. But all I know is over the past 5 months, I've put on roughly 10 accounts, and it's working. And the value prop makes perfect sense to me and is pretty rock solid.
I would agree. Don't be left behind. All the best, everybody. Come with us. Sleft's going to take care of you. You pay no fees, you get free equipment, and you start creating a revenue stream. Have a lovely day.
I want you to candidly, imagine, Dad, you had 2 to 5 minutes to train up someone that's actually good at and trainable. Imagine you have 2 to 5 minutes to just train someone how the hell to do this. Explain it to everyone. Explain to the audience how to sell credit card processing and how to be badass at it as best as you can.
All right, very simply, I'm going to give you the elevator pitch first. If I stood there in front of a CEO, president, CFO, controller, owner of a company, somebody that makes decisions, I would simply say, how would you like to go from paying fees to being paid?
So that's the elevator pitch when you're a prospective salesman. You walk in the door and say, how'd you like to go from paying fees to getting paid? But you don't say that initially. You start asking them Socratic questions like, hey, how's it going? How long have you been working here? Oh, you guys have this on your menu? That's cool. Is it a bestseller? By the way, is the owner around? No, he's not around. He comes around on Saturday at 10 a.m. Okay, I'll come back. Come back Saturday at 10 a.m. See the owner. You're seeing the owner at 10 a.m. You build some sort of rapport. You don't just walk in the door and say, how'd you like to go from paying fees to getting paid?
No, you're right. I wouldn't. I would go like this. I would put out my hand and I'd say, oh, Mr. Denmark, it's a pleasure to meet you. You know what I'm here to do today? I'm here to give you a raise today. I understand your fees are $5,000 a month. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to save that $5,000 a month every month. And on a course of a year, you're going to save yourself $60,000. You know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to give you a referral fee every month. So now you're going to go from paying that $5,000 a month to being paid. Oh, and on top of that, whatever equipment you need, I'm going to give it to you for free. So I'm going to give you 3 things. Free equipment, take away all your fees, and give you a revenue stream. Welcome to my family. Sleft Payments is going to set the world on fire.
Don't get left behind.
Don't get left behind.
That was good.
My son's new company is Sleft Payments. My company's been Merchant Services International for 31 years, so I have to now get used to saying Sleft. But we love our slogan.
Yeah.
Don't be left. Don't get left behind.
Yeah, we do love our slogan. One second.
But that would be it. I mean, really, that would be it in a nutshell. Those 3 wonderful things we can offer somebody, as you cut me off.
Sorry. No.
Okay, that's it. Don't get left behind. Don't get left behind.
Yeah.
Don't get left behind.
Don't get left behind.
Don't get left behind.
All right, so for real, you're a college age student. You saw the post on Handshake. You're trying to get involved. You're looking at the post. You're saying, oh, you can make an unlimited amount of money at Sleft. What the hell is Sleft? We're a payment processing company, and we basically sell credit card processing services. So what that means is you'll be selling anything from a credit card terminal to online banking to a point of sale machine that you see at the restaurants or wherever you go, where the waiters or bartenders are tapping on that screen. That's a point of sale machine. So we just sell that. What does that mean for you? You don't have to know anything about the technology. You don't even have to know a single button on the point of sale machine if you don't really want to. The bottom line is you have to understand the value prop, which is merchants go from paying fees to getting paid because they work with the innovative cash discount program, and then they get paid through our revenue share program. So every single time you go into a restaurant, or if you go into a bar, or if you are working, what are some other common niches? If you're working in nightlife, or you are already a seasoned salesman and you have a whole host of businesses that you can speak to, or you're involved in some sort of community where there's a business transaction component, where there's payments involved. This is a relationship business. That's all it is. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to know about AI. You don't even have to really know about anything in payments, truly. You don't have to be a payments expert. You have to learn how to build trust with someone and then provide value and follow up relentlessly, the fortunes in the follow up, and do it over and over and over again, and you'll be successful at Sleft. That's
Clearly.
really it.
That's it.
You know, like there's going to be a sales material for Sleft salesmen, but what I really want to try to get across at the end of the day is
I hope they're salespeople, not just salesmen.
salespeople.
Saleswomen can really kick ass too.
Hell yeah, they can.
Anyway, 3 components. Don't forget them. Very simple. Free equipment. We take away all your fees, and we provide you with a revenue stream. 3 things. That's going to set the world on fire in this business. Whether it's retail, wholesale, distribution, manufacturers, we have every single vertical on hand to help you with all your processing needs. Don't be left behind.
Another thing about credit card processing that you guys should know is it's entirely on your own time. So if you
Sky's the limit, and nobody bothers you. You have no restrictions. You have no quotas to make. You can do it on a part-time basis, on a full-time basis. If you have a book of business that you want us to talk to, that you want to talk to, we can work with you that way. The old school folks like myself would say, if you have a Rolodex of business in a specific industry, we'd love to talk to you about that as well. We have revenue share programs, we have referral programs, and we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to work with you. We'd love to show you how these businesses can save money and make money at the same time. And we think we're on to something pretty special here at Sleft. Because I love the slogan, don't be left behind, baby.
don't get left behind.
Don't get left behind.
Don't get left behind.
That's really it in a nutshell. I want
Yeah.
to wish you all well. I hope you reach out to us here at Sleft. A couple ways to get a hold of us. What are those couple ways, young man?
You can at any given time email info@sleftpayments.com or call or text 215-595-6671. And we're on our phones 24/7, so you'll hear from us as quickly as we can get to it.
And don't be left behind.
Don't be left behind.